Okay. I'm here with Eric from GANTO Barn, and I was just talking about the fact that I've heard a lot of Lemmy stories lately, and none of them have ever compared to the story that I heard from you. I think you told me the night we went to go see the Buzzcocks. I think you told me that night, and which was a great show. And
yes, it was.
It was a good show, wasn't it? And nothing stopped it, so I'm asking you a favor right now, and that's to tell me your Lemmy story on video because I want other people to hear it, and I couldn't do it justice myself. Go ahead.
Okay.
And I'm so glad that you agreed to do this. I didn't think you would.
Well, it's a story that I've told quite a few times, and the end part of it I actually only remembered after I had seen the trailer for his movie that came out about 5 years ago, and he was at the end of the trailer. He's just sitting in the back dressing room telling this joke that was just,
Lemmy?
Yeah, Lemmy was just telling this joke to a couple of his crew members that was just. And they're all throwing up, laughing or whatever, and I'm just, why have I heard this joke before? It bothered me for a few weeks, and then finally it just hits me that it was him that told me the joke personally. And this.
You repressed Lemmy?
I what?
You repressed your memories of Lemmy?
This particular joke just, you'll understand when I tell it to you, but it was Ozfest of '98, and I went there specifically for the Melvins and Motorhead.
The Melvins.
And so I got to see them, I got to meet them, and you couldn't miss them. They were just hanging out in the crowd. They kind of blended in unless you really knew who they were. And I remember Mickey D all day was bitching and whining about how much he hated Cold Chamber because A, they were on the main stage and they weren't, and B,
hates Cold Chamber.
They're a bunch of bloody wankers that can't play their fucking instruments.
Larry was their drum tech. Believe me, I heard stories about them. He was right. So go ahead.
So, and it was just so after the whole day's over.
How old were you?
At the time, I was I think just turning 17, and it was actually the summer that I had just started GANTO Barn, and we were still looking around for a drummer at that point. But we went to Ozfest that day, and after the festival was over, we're walking along the near where the river is, and there's just lines of buses, and otherwise it's just dark. And it was around 12:30 at night, and one of the bus doors opens, and it's the same guy with blonde hair and a tank ripped off t-shirt that's been like I've seen around all day. It's Mickey D. He's like, the hell are you kids doing out here this time? And you realize this place is fucking dangerous? Get in here. So we have to
get in their trailer.
Yeah, we get in their bus, and we just hung out with him for a little while. He was trying to get me to listen to a lot of Iced Earth and Testament and Accept and a few other. I'm like, well, it's not really my thing. I love you guys, but I'm not really into a lot of that. He's like, oh, well, what do you listen to?
The Motorhead's pushing Testament and...
The Testament and Accept. And Iced Earth and all of those 80s bands that I just really couldn't get into. But when he asked me like what I was into, I'm like, I'm into a lot of like the grunge scene and punk rock and
Melvins.
Melvins, yeah, they're definitely a part of that. And he said, well, do you like Alice in Chains? I said, yeah, I like Alice in Chains. He's like, well, funny story. You know, I was drumming. I had to replace their drummer, Sean, for a little while, like a couple shows on the tour. And that's as long as I lasted because I just can't handle people doing dope all the time. It wasn't my scene.
Really?
Yeah. It only a very short time. I doubt he even remembers it, but this is what he told me. So we're hanging out with him for a few hours. A few hours. So it gets to be about 4 in the morning. The bus decides it's time to leave. You know, we'll leave. We're going to drop you off outside at the front gate at the East Center. And as it turns out, my mom was actually waiting in her wagon to come pick us up. Me and a couple of my friends.
At 4 in the morning.
At 4 in the morning. And so we get off the bus, and I figure, well, we just missed Lemmy. We have to go anyway. But we got to be, friends with Mickey D, and he was really nice. One of the nicest people out there. And Phil was nice too, but he was kind of tired. He went to bed. And we're just about to leave, and all of a sudden, standing in like this, in the shadows of my mom's headlights is Lemmy.
Mm-hmm.
He's there. He's got a girl in each arm, a cigarette in his mouth, and he's looking pretty tired. But still, Mickey D introduces us, and he says, "Hey, Lem, I want you to meet these kids. They're some of the nicest kids ever. They're really cool, and they're just, very down to earth. I really think you'd appreciate them. So, guys, Lemmy, guy. So, you shake his hand. Great show. You guys are incredible. And, would you mind signing my program?" Sure. So, he signed my program. All three of them did, actually, and I still have it upstairs. And, so I'm figuring, that's it. They want to go to bed. And I have to go too. But then a couple of my two friends who are with me head over to my mom's car, and I'm pretty much right behind them. But then he just, slaps me on the shoulder. "Hey, what are you, a joke?" Okay, whatever this is supposed to mean. But you're Lemmy. It's 4 a.m. I don't care. I'm already delirious. So then he proceeds to tell me. The joke goes as so. "Little kid walking down the back alley in the middle of the night. Gets stopped by a cop. 'Hello, Sonny. What are you doing out this time of night?' 'I'm looking for a whore.' 'What? How old are you?' 'I'm 9, he says. 'The hell do you want a whore for?' 'I want to get a disease.' 'Kind of fucking disease?' It says, a sexually transmitted one, officer." So the officer's just beside himself, like, "The fuck you want a disease for?" "Well, you see, sir, if I get this disease and I go home and I fuck the babysitter and she gets it, and then fucks my dad and he gets it, and then fucks my mom and she gets it, and she fucks the gardener and he gets it, and that bastard deserves it because he ran over my dog the other day." I'm just like, "What? Can?" And he just slaps me on the shoulder. "Good night, fella." He goes in and shuts the door, and I'm like, "Ugh!" And I just made a beeline for my mom's car, and I go and I shut the door. And they're like, "So what was he telling you?" I'm like,
"Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it, Mom. Just drive."
I thought you were 14 at the time. I forgot you were 17.
I was 17, and I was like, "Mom, just drive." And she's like, "Who was that scary man you were talking to?" And I'm like, "God." So that was it. I never saw. I mean, I've seen Motorhead since, but I haven't met them since. That was it.
It's a pretty unusual story. I mean, it's very, very unlikely that it would happen. It certainly won't happen now. They just played their probably last really show, but yeah, it was a great show though at the Tower.
I had to miss that show, unfortunately. But
if I had tickets, I would have asked you to go because I was asked you to go to shows.
Yes,
but
I know.
George actually covered the whole thing for us. It was really cool. We went and we got signed drum heads by all three band members. That's what he got for me, so it was cool.
And I had a pair of Mickey D's drumsticks from that day.
Really?
I don't know what the hell happened to them, but I also know that my friend who was with me, this girl Jamie, got Lemmy's T-shirt.
Really? That from that night?
That night, and she may still have it. I don't know.
How did she get his T-shirt?
Mickey D just threw it at her right in her face.
You knew it was Lemmy's?
Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, it's Lemmy's. Take it."
Oh, really?
So she's like, "You." She has it to this day, I guess.
I would assume that she does.
I hope she does.
Or maybe she sold it when they auctioned off Kurt Cobain's last lock of hair the other night. Maybe they had the wife beater that Lemmy left on the couch.
No, it wasn't a lock of hair.
What was it?
It was the sweater that he wore on MTV Unplugged.
What was the thing about the hair then I heard?
They did have a lock of his hair that Courtney was trying to sell, but they said somebody deemed it inappropriate.
Courtney was trying to sell his hair.
Yeah. Well, that's where all of his stuff is coming from. It's coming from her.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing that she's gotten rid of some of the things she has. It's unbelievable.
Don't get me started on her. I have my own.
And you like her. You think she's awesome. She's getting Sid Nancy.
Well, yeah, she's in Sid and Nancy. She plays Nancy's best friend, Gretchen, in that film. And she was also in Straight to Hell. She was in...
See, I told you liked her. You know everything about her.
Well, you can't knock it until you know something about it.
Exactly. I don't know. I think it was not as easy to be married to him as people think. I mean, as girl, it's certainly not glamorous. Okay. Thank you for telling me the Lemmy story. And we're gonna start a new, like, I don't know. We're gonna just collect some more Lemmy stories. Ant of a Bitch has got to go, but that's the only other good one I heard. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and have a good night.
Or good morning.
Good morning, rather, yeah.
Thanks. It's amazing. It's so weird to see you up this time of night.